Hey everybody, I've got just a single, really small, pretty dang basic set to look at here. It's the LEGO Star Wars Snowspeeder in the 4 Plus line, released for 2020. But don't run away too quickly. This set is probably better than it has any right to be. Check it out. This is the full extent of what you get in the set. So the Snowspeeder itself, another Snowspeeder, a Snowspeeder bike for this Snow Trooper, a pilot for the Snowspeeder, and then a little bit of terrain and a ground-based cannon. The main thing you're paying for is pretty small, yet not terrible. It's got kind of super deformed proportions with the very large windscreen piece relative to the size of the body and everything, but it's not bad. The overall shape of this singular, large, specialized piece that LEGO came up with for these younger kid sets to represent the base of a spaceship is pretty perfect for this exact craft. So it's kind of a match made in heaven in that sense. Maybe a little bit of cheating, but hey, it works. I mean, you look at this and you immediately recognize what it is. Because it's one of these younger kid sets, they don't have any stickers, so that's a printed piece right there. That's printed, of course, and the rest of the details are added in with legitimate building techniques. Not many pieces are used, but it's okay. There's still some texture and everything. You can rotate the grappling hook launcher back here, although it doesn't have an actual grappling hook piece in it, unfortunately. The old school canopy piece they've been using for so long opens up easily, gives you plenty of room inside of there to place the pilot. Pilot doesn't even need to lean way ridiculously far back like they do on some of the much more expensive, much more fancy sets. And you even have a printed console piece in the front. So this thing just kind of works. Snow Trooper Speeder is smaller and simpler still. I mean, this really takes us back through LEGO history in terms of the level of detail and the complexity of the build here. So few pieces, yet, again, you look at it, you recognize it, you know what it's supposed to be, and it holds the figure just fine. Doesn't have any special add-on lasers or anything on it. Doesn't have any stud shooters to have an actual action feature. Does not have landing gear either. But it goes down on the ground just fine. It has enough elevation that, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense. And these things are super massable. So this is another one that I think works. Sure, it'd be great to get more, but we have to consider the target audience and also the price, which I'll get back to in a few minutes. This is the most basic rendition of a P-Tower anti-vehicle cannon from Hoth from Empire Strikes Back. But, you recognize, once again, what it is just by looking at this. It even has a printed console of its own for the sake of control, although it is a little bit tall. If a random minifigure comes along and tries to control this thing, he's going to have to be kind of on his tiptoes and looking up there trying to see which button am I supposed to be pushing. So, yeah, that's one thing that's a little bit off. But otherwise, a little bit of terrain over here is represented with an icy cave. They're just trying to show that the place is cold. That's all. A little bit of snow down there, and that's that. I guess you could put a minifigure behind there, pretend that they're stuck. Imagine that there's a Wampa behind there. Now, here's the thing that you might not have expected when looking at this at first. This will actually shoot, not from the center, but rather from down below. That is a disc shooter, and the set includes two perfectly plain, 2x2 round tiles. You can just load one in there. I'm going to try to do it with one hand in one take. Will it work? I got it loaded. And then to fire it, you just push from the back. Nope. There it goes. Hey. All right. That's actually a pretty good shot. So that works too. So do we get cheap, weak, generic minifigures for this low-end set made for younger kids? Nope. That's Wedge Antilles on the left, officially, and a very good one at that. Look at the level of detail. Going straight through the hips, down into the legs, that's very good printing. Even the white is printed pretty well on the front, and we often don't get that. And of course, being a rebel with a helmet, there's an awesome helmet for that guy, because LEGO just seems to love those pieces, and they do a fantastic job with them. And the Snow Trooper looks pretty good as well, with a good level of detail in the printing, good quality there. Does not have any cloth piece as an extra part, but I'm fine with that. I don't think that the youngest kids would enjoy putting those parts on anyway. It would always have to be a task taken on by adults. The print on the back of this figure, unfortunately, the wedge figure, is not so good. The white there is definitely missing opacity, and I thought that was a little bit of dust, but it's not. It's just a little blemish. Okay, so that's a little bit off. This one has an alternate face, though. This one does not. Unfortunately, the one on the right is yet another angry clone. But, you know what? I'm not even going to complain that much about that, because this is a massable set, and it doesn't really matter who those folks are. I'm going to give that one a pass for once, mostly because the set does not come with stud shooters. It comes with the semi-realistic blasters. Not even the battle packs come with those. So this is another plus. That's great, and each one actually has an appropriate blaster to go with them. To bring a little extra value to this video, I thought I'd show you a comparison between this wee little juniors style Snowspeeder and the last serious one for real collectors that we got just like months ago. The difference in size is tremendous, and you see they use the exact same canopy piece between the two, which gives this somewhat of a chibi style look, that super deformed look to some degree, but it's not that bad, right? I mean, like, the overall shape is kind of there, and all the important stuff is still there. It's just a lot smaller and cheaper and more massable. The point about massability is particularly poignant when you bring in an Imperial Walker, just a regular one, because, you know, this is a lot more fun. It just feels more right. Doing this, like, you can go between the legs, you can go around. Yeah, it comes with no string, so get a piece of string and tie it onto the back of here. But this just makes so much more sense than one that's twice, almost 3 times this much mass. You know, you can imagine a couple of these teaming up against one of these, and it just makes a lot more sense. So what we have here today, ladies and gentlemen, is a failure to fail. Because by all modern standards, this should be a total failure of a product. I mean, it commits the cardinal sin of toy design. It's a toy that's made for kids. Toys aren't supposed to be made for kids these days. They're supposed to be high-end collector's items only, and anything that's made for kids is automatically trash. It's garbage. It shouldn't exist in the first place. But this is made for kids, and it's cool. It's quite cool, in fact. And it costs $20 for this set. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if this was a little bit cheaper. If they knocked just $2 off it, if it was $17.99 US, I think that would be the perfect price for the amount of stuff that I'm seeing here. But do keep in mind, this gives you a decent, more than decent Snowspeeder that you can actually use. And it also gives you a speeder bike, and it gives you a bad guy, and it gives you a pretty basic cannon. Leave off the little ice cave thing. That's a little bit cheesy, but it's much better in my opinion with that just knocked off. I'm just gonna take it off right now, as a matter of fact. There we go. Gotta love Lego for that. It just looks better, I think, like that. Comes with an official wedge figure as well, for half as much as that last Snowspeeder set, the 20th anniversary one. Now, the 20th anniversary one came with way more pieces. It's way more detailed, way more accurate, absolutely. But if you just want a Snowspeeder, or maybe multiple Snowspeeders, or if you're trying to set up a nice Hoth diorama in a space that's smaller than a museum, you know, if you have like a reasonable amount of space, this may actually be a better way to build up a Hoth battle scene than anything that Lego has done for a long, long time. This is pretty dang cool. I think that Lego has a hit on their hands. No wonder it's out of stock at Amazon already. Yeah, I like the thing. So enough said about that. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Keep in mind that YouTube does not like to send out notifications anymore. They don't even like to show subscriptions in subscription feeds if you have already subscribed. So check the channel if you want to see if I've brought out anything new, which happens almost every day. Bye.